Well, here is the start list for today's 15-kilometre individual. Once again, all the favourites have decided to go in Group 1. I guess the snow is a factor there, and the temperatures with evening races does tend to drop 3 or 4 degrees, and we're at -7. We're just about at the stage where the snow gets a little slower to ski on as the crystals get sharper and more brittle, and so I guess we're looking at maybe a 30-second advantage over the 15k by going in Group 1. It's not as if the top seeds need that advantage, Mike.
They don't. They are up there because of the track record from last year. And I agree, I think it is going to drop a little bit in terms of speed on the track. And all this machine-made snow underneath, it's taken all the humidity out of the natural snow that's landed on top, so it is very aggressive.
Well, we were fortunate enough to be covering the opening stages of the cross-country World Cup last weekend, and in cross-country the top seeds go last. They do split them by a minute by putting someone else in between, but you cannot argue that it makes a fantastic climax to the race.
I would like to see Biathlon introducing that. I really would. The top 30 in the world going in the last, and maybe with a lower ranker in between, it would certainly make it exciting.
So 102 in all. That's the penultimate start sheet there, and many names that you won't have heard before. We've got a few newcomers. Most of the big names are still here, although the two biggest names in women's biathlon retiring, of course, Neuner and Helena Ekholm. So we've lost the fastest skier, we've lost the best shot, and it is time for someone else to shine. Tora Berger, well, she was about to retire, and the youngsters in the Norwegian team decided, well, they put so much pressure on her that she's decided to come back and work through this transitions phase as the new youngsters come in. And if Berger has another good year this year, it won't be too hard to persuade her to stay on until 2014.
I think that must be it. She's 31-year-old, remember, Tora Berger, but what we saw in the mixed relay, she was brilliant. And another thing, Patrick, you mentioned Neuner leaving. Remember, Neuner won 10 out of the 26 races last year, so there's 10 races up for grabs without her here this year.
At least. Well, just a minute or so to go before the start of the individual. Palka will be the first away. Welcome to Oestersund in central Sweden for the second consecutive day of Biathlon World Cup action. The men's individual yesterday, it's the women's individual today. 15 kilometres the distance, 102 starters are on the start list, and unlike yesterday where the last starter decided not to go, that was only Einar Bjorndalen. He apparently deciding that his condition wasn't quite right. He's got a sort of man flu, I guess you could call it, but always better to err on the side of caution. But he's just waiting to see whether he's going to race on Saturday and Sunday. Let's hope that he does in the sprint and the pursuit. So, Krystyna Palka, 29-year-old from Zakopane, which is better known for its ski jumpers in Poland. No Tomasz Sikora on the Polish team this year, so a lot of pressure on Palka to do something. Her best really coming in 2005, but she did make the top 10 last year. Away she goes, 15,000 metres. What's the estimate time, Mike? We're looking around 50 minutes?
Yes, I think we're looking possibly down. Yesterday the men were a little faster than they were last year, so I would say maybe 47 minutes.
Now, Marie-Laure Brunet really struggled at the beginning of last season. Really, because she didn't get the results that she thought she deserved, and my goodness, she shot better than anyone else last year. In fact, I think she even outshot Helena Ekholm with her consistency. But the skiing has let her down time and time again, and already you can see just not that sparky off the start, but an individual 20 shots could be her day.
Well, you've got to feel so comfortable about Brunet, the way she controls her mindset coming into the range, especially at 1-minute penalties.
Via Semelienko from the Ukraine, finished 9th here last year. And she hit 10 out of 10 in the pro and missed 3 in the stand. That's not bad, but if you want to win, if you look down the last, 6 times that they've now had the individual as the first race of the season, no one's won, Mike, hitting less than 18, and only on 2 occasions have 18's gone and won it. Usually 3 out of the 6, 50% of the time, you've got to hit 20 out of 20.
Yes, generally you have, and for the Lithuanian Rasa Mašutė, she would need to be hitting the 20. I know she had a poor season by her high standards on the shooting range last season, and from what I saw of her training in October, I think she'll be back this season to her best. That
can only be Tora Berger going through her warming up routine. Maybe you can give us some advice on how to get warm for an event like this when it's -7, Mike. How much hard work you have to do, as we watch Jana Gorekova of Slovakia. Now, she's got a lot of talent, but didn't shoot clear on any occasion last year. If she does so today, she could well get a PB.
Well, Gorekova, last season, at this time, her results weren't as good as they were from February onwards, from the World Championships onwards. Gorekova lifted her performance.
Andrea Henkel starts number 8, just behind Scaladino, who's going to be behind Teja Gregorin. Gregorin, 15th in the world rankings last year, finished 11th in the World Championship individual, so this is a discipline that she's pretty good at. You're not going to miss her out on the tracks in the fluorescent yellow. A little bit tense coming out of the start gate. Now, potential winner, Kaisa Mäkäräinen. She's done it before. She's won the overall title. Maybe it's going to be her day. She can certainly put some pressure on Domracheva if she shoots well. Now, here's the other top athlete from Belarus. Skavdino comes out of Minsk, and will be hoping to break into the top 30 of the World Cup rankings this year. That would be an improvement on 10 positions on last year. Klaus Siebert, pretty special coach.
I think he is so special, like Andrea Henkel as an athlete, but Klaus Siebert, he's got that gift where he can bring the best out of athletes. He identifies what he has to say and do to bring the best out of each individual.
Henkel has been around long enough to coach herself. The overall champion in 2007. She's got a haul of 8 major medals, Olympic and world titles, lots of them coming from the relay events. But she's one of few who's won the Olympic individual event and the world title. In fact, Tora Berger, currently the Olympic champion and the world champion, as is Emil Hegler Svensson on the men's side.
Yeah, that's some feat to do it 2 consecutive years at the majors. And Miriam Gössner, she used to share with Neuner and best of friends. Now she's still young, but maybe she'll raise up to the challenge of taking the best German this racing season.
Only 22, Miriam Gössner. Now, let's have your first prediction of the year. How many targets is she going to hit today?
Right, Gössner, I would say she'll hit no more than 15.
Well, that certainly will rule her out of a win. Strömsted of Sweden comes from Stockholm, but will spend much of her time up here in Östersund, where the facilities are so good. In fact, they're going to rebuild much of the stadium as soon as these races are finished on Sunday evening. They start the reconstruction. They don't hang around, and they're telling me they're going to put the press centre behind the targets.
Wow. Strömsted just skiing now into the darkness of the forest. She's a great singer. She plays the violin, and she loves her house decorating. Just thought I'd mention that one.
Well, I've got a job for it. Now, let's see how Palka's doing up at 1.5 kilometres, 5:10. That's steady. We won't really get a good indication until someone else has been through. She's not pushing the pace at the moment. Remember, it's 15 kilometres. They've got 4 shoots in all, so it doesn't take a genius to work out that they're skiing 3-kilometre laps.
I can't believe she's putting the anchors, the brakes on at the top of this descent. It is a little fast. It is a little edgy. You have to get your edges in. But losing all your momentum is not good.
Some would say better safe than sorry. A fall at that particular point will cost you at least 20 seconds. But it's nice to see people attacking the course. That gives an opportunity for those who are good at downhill. We'll see how many decide to take the careful route. Marie-Dorin-Habert from France goes number 13. 9th in the World Cup standings at the end of last year. She got 12 top 10s. That's a really good season by anyone's standard.
It is, and you know, with her 93% hit rate in the prone and though only 83 in the standing, Doran is a safe bet today for, I think, again, another top 15.
Semelienko through 1.5. Coming up behind her is Razmatchuti from Lithuania. And she's not going too badly at all. 5:08 on the clock for Semelienko. That's an extraordinary start for the Lithuanian. 8.4 inside, and if she can hit some targets, it's going to be a useful day. All the hard work on the uphill for Razmatchuti, and then throws away a couple by taking it easy on the downhill. Mari Laukkanen for Finland, of course. Finland will be relying on Kaisa Mäkäräinen to do something today, a woman who's already got 5 wins on the World Cup and was the champion back in 2011.
Laukkanen out on the track just started. She was one of the few athletes. Well, she didn't finish in this race last year after a poor start on the range.
Kalinchik in the red and green of Belarus.
I must say, Patrick, just looking at the Belarus team, the way the sparky start that they've had, and technically their skiing, for me, this is an improved team coming into the new season.
And the women certainly look good in the mixed relay last weekend. And the women in the Belarus team just that little bit stronger than the men are. Bescon, 6 French athletes racing today. Slight changes on the numbers permitted, Mike, and that's resulted in a field of 102 as opposed to 122, which I think we had last year, and we've had more than that in the past. Regardless of that, the individual is still a long, drawn-out race.
It is. It absolutely is. And I do like the individual. It's a race where we have to be a little patient, but it really does, for me, test the strength of the biathlete when you're becoming more and more fatigued mentally and physically to get these small targets.
Now let's have a look and see. The snow, as you can see, is falling fairly vertically, so it's eased off. It was blowing quite hard about an hour and a half before the race started. Fortunately for the women, the wind easing off while they were zeroing the weapons, so they shouldn't have any major problems. But the pressure of the first individual race of the season can always play on the mind.
To break your position like that, rebuild it, the bullet, the empty case didn't eject, so she had to pull it out with her finger.
Well, if Palka can hit 5, Brunet can certainly hit 5. Have a look at the routine. This should be nice and smooth. Double blinder.
She's so good. She just saw the flags have died down a little, so she's adjusted 3 clicks to the right.
Nice start, and puts the sights back again. My goodness, she's on the ball at the moment. Semelienko. This is quick, working from right to left, new school. Oh, and that's the danger, Mike. That's exactly why Brunet goes for the central target first.
Good point. I think that of course, Shemerenko, I think she really snatched. She rushed that last shot, and it throws it wide. You can see the weight below the front sight, the foresight, an extra, I think, about 200 grams added onto a rifle. What a pity.
Yeah, skiing hard and throwing it all the way. 2 minutes added. That's roughly 800 meters added to her distance, although it is, of course, just a time penalty as we watch Olga Zaitseva blasting her